Hey guys, welcome or welcome back. Thanks so much for joining me. Today I'm going to cover off a few questions that I've seen about Topaz Labs DeNoise AI and how I get the best out of it. For the purposes of this little tutorial, we're going to be using Lightroom Classic, but you can open straight up into Photoshop. There is a how-to on how to do that and make sure that all your plugins are connected okay, linked in the description below from the guys at Topaz Labs. Full disclosure here, everybody, if you use my link that I have in my description below, I do get some pennies if you buy this product. However, you guys also know that I've used this particular tool on nearly every single image that I've entered into previous awards, including this one. So I wanted to open up this photograph of Percy the French Bulldog. There is a video on his shoot and how we got this picture and why we had to deal with horrific light, and that will be linked above. But we were at ISO 1000 in a deep dark part of the wood, and as a result we have got a lot of noise. Now Percy himself is absolutely fine, I can work with him, but if I'm going to enter this into awards, this is too much noise really for me to be comfortable with, and therefore I would use and did put this through Topaz Labs DeNoise AI. This image did achieve a silver with the Guild, and it also achieved a finalist in the MPA's pet photography category of their international awards. With that all said and done, when you've done your exposure changes, when you've done your white balance changes, and when you've lifted your shadows and dropped your highlights, if you do that, at that point stop and run it through DeNoise. So when you convert into DeNoise from a raw file, it does convert the file into a TIFF. That's kind of the best way of going, but what that does mean is you lose a little bit of the dynamic range and how much you can pull back compared to a raw file. So using Percy's image that we've got here right now, I'm going to go ahead and right click on the image in the timeline. Right clicking on that gets me this window. I'm going to edit in Topaz DeNoise AI. Either one of those two. Either's fine. Now, if you don't have these options, but you have DeNoise or the free trial of DeNoise AI, go ahead and look at that link in the description for how to connect the two up as plugins. We're going to click on Edit in Topaz Labs. You then get up this box. So we do want to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments because that is our shadows, highlights, white balance, and exposure adjustments. We're going to put it through as a TIFF. We're going to keep the color space as whatever the image color space was at the time. For me, that was Adobe RGB. We're going to make sure that the bit depth is 16-bit because that is the most amount of color data. We're going to put the resolution at 300 and we're not going to put any compression on at all. When you've done that, we then click edit, and at this point it makes a copy of our file down here, and then it opens up the copied version in DeNoise AI. Okay, so when you're in DeNoise AI, you will have something that looks like this. Now, I switch my workspace round so that the toolbar panel is at the left, but you don't have to do that, that's fine. So your view might have this to this side, that is fine. Now, what you wanna make sure is that there is a change happening. You can see clearly that there is a difference between this side and this side. If there is no difference at all, you need to reinstall Topaz Labs. Something has gone wrong and the tool is not working. You should be able to see a clear difference. Okay, so over in the tool panel side, you have DeNoise AI, AI Clear, and Low Light. These are different formats of the DeNoise artificial intelligence system that runs through the images. DeNoise AI is what I use for most images. It does a good job. Low light is what I go for if I have a dog with a lot of fluff going on. Also, low light is great for if you are in super noisy conditions. That will give you a very clean finish, but it will sacrifice some of the detail. AI Clear is a little bit different. AI Clear works much better on color noise than any of the other options there, but DeNoise AI is what I use most of the time. Now, usually when you go in, your settings will be set to auto. Now, when you open up an image and you're using the auto settings, I have personally found that that is way too strong. And for me personally, I would not be happy losing the level of detail that we lose with this level of noise reduction, and also the over sharpening as a result. Like the over sharpening on here is just ridiculous. So turn off auto, and with auto turned off, I then drop my remove noise down to about 4. I mean, this is like a rough guesstimation here, but for most images, about 4. I then change my enhance sharpness to about 5. Literally the tiniest little bit, and sometimes even less than that on both of those. But you can see the difference on Percy's head here. We have a much smoother finish and it's not that obvious. Now the noise over here, if you look in the background area, has been removed, but the noise over here has not. So this is what I'm looking for when I'm thinking, okay, do I need to increase something? And in this situation, yes, I do. I need to increase my remove noise. So I'm going to put that up to 6 and see if that takes care of this section. It's done a pretty good job. Could do with a little bit more, so I'm going to push it again. And do you see how we're basically going up in little steps? We're not going, hey, here, have it all. So at this stage, we've now had the noise taken care of. But what I do want to make sure is that the detail on Percy and Percy's coat isn't removed. And in this situation, you're likely, if you're photographing horses, to see some of the coat disappear. So let's say, for argument's sake, that we need some detail back in. So this is something that I tend to have to do reasonably regularly with horses because the coat just disappears. So if we need to add coat back in, don't panic, because there is a masking feature in DeNoise AI. So if you click the mask, you will end up with, just like in Photoshop, a white mask, and you can paint on it with either black or white. So I'm going to click on sub, which will paint black on the mask. So that means leave this area alone. And I'm going to change the radius to be whatever size I need it to be, the softness to be whatever softness, and then the opacity to maybe be about 50% when reclaiming detail. So at this stage, we're on a black brush on a white mask, and therefore if we go ahead and paint, we will end up with a black area in our mask. Now, turning the overlay off, you should be able to see within this section that the noise has been added back in. So I'm going to go to add to paint it with white. I'm going to put that to 100, and I'm going to just go back over that. So let's go. I'm going to make the softness of the brush super hard so that you can see the edge. I'll point out on the screen right now, you should be able to see the noise and the not noise area. And so just like that, using your brushes, using your mask, you can bring back areas that have been lost. When you're happy with the denoise that's been done, you can just go ahead and click apply mask on the mask, and then go ahead and click apply on that. And that will set out the export of this adjusted version. When that is complete, it will pop that straight back into Lightroom with its duplicate copy selected. At this point, I usually change the color by right clicking and doing set color label and put it to green, because green to me means that that is the one that has been denoised. So now if we zoom in to 200%, we have a super clean image, like ridiculously clean, but we've still retained all of the important details. And where we did our little interesting mask, there is a circle around the edge of that you can clearly see. At this stage, I'd then go forward, move that into Photoshop and complete my edit. Of course, the final edit for this was an award edit, so I'll put that up on the screen now. But I hope this video has been helpful in showing you guys how to use Topaz Labs DeNoise. If you have any questions, please do drop them into the comments box below. I'll see you all again really, really, really soon.